Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Red and Blue in Review. My name is Ian Noble. I'm sitting in, of course, for Nick Philpott this evening, who is driving a bus somewhere around South London. And, of course, Jel Holyoke, he's not here either. He's sunning himself on a beach somewhere, I think Cape Verde. But I'm joined by the A-team tonight, a great bunch of people. With me again, like last week, Jim Cannon, Acker the Ledge. Welcome, Jim. How are you?
I'm very well, Ian. Thank you very much. Yourself?
Excellent. Good to see you. You'll be wanting appearance money soon, coming on this show so often. Very good. And welcome back, Mittal Patel. How are you, Mittal?
Yeah, I'm good. Happy after the weekend.
Absolutely. Happy after the weekend, of course. And Lucy Usher, great to see you. Sometimes behind the camera, but in front of the camera tonight. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, face for radio, Mr. Noble, face for radio. Thank you for having me here.
Face for Palace podcast. And of course, we're all happy tonight because I'm still bouncing after the win at the Taxpayers Stadium yesterday. Goodness me, what a fantastic win. Absolutely brilliant. Last minute winner. And we're going to be unpacking that game for you guys a little bit later on the show. Really good to see so many people joining us. And Lucy's going to keep an eye on that chat this evening. Now, one thing we're going to do tonight, and we're not going to let Jim off lightly, we're going to make him earn his beer money. We want to put some quick fire questions to Jim Cannon tonight. So if you've got any questions for Jim, which we'll come back to at the end of the show, then put them in the chat, and Lucy will make a note of them, and we'll come back to them later and ask Jim those questions. So before we get on to the game, though, I just want to cover off some of the other teams' results this weekend. On the Red and Blue Review, we like to talk about not just the first team, but other teams as well. Sadly, the women didn't play this weekend. Their championship game was waterlogged, called off, so no fixture for them this weekend. On Friday evening, the under-21s played on the hallowed turf that is Selhurst Park against Leicester City, and we have a certain Julian Speroni back in the dugout for the under-21s. And the youngsters drew 0-0 with Leicester in Premier League 2. And then on Saturday lunchtime, I think it was, the youngsters, the under-18s, were away at Leeds United. And as you can see there, they were on the wrong end of a 7-goal thriller and lost 5-2 in a cup match, I think it was, the League Cup. So unlucky to them. So they're the other results from the weekend. And we also like to keep an eye on our loan players that are out on loan elsewhere. And, of course, it was FA Cup weekend, first round of the FA Cup. How did they do? Well, Jezrag Saki, he was not part of the Charlton squad that won 4-1 over Colville Town. See how the mighty Clowns are doing so well. They played Colville Town in the FA Cup. And JRS was not played. So I wonder if we're just holding him back maybe. Maybe we'll want him for a cup to ourselves later on in the competition. Scott Banks, however, came on in the 68th minute for Bradford in their 1-0 reverse at home to Harrogate Town in the cup. In Scotland, Remy Matthews was not in the St Johnstone squad, but Malachi Boateng played all 90 minutes for Queen's Park. They lost away 2-0 to Cove Rangers. And no relation, David Boateng came off the bench for them as well. What else can I tell you? Back to the FA Cup. Rob Street came on for Shrewsbury in the 62nd minute as they won 2-1 at home to York City in the Cup. And in Belgium, Luke Plonge and Jake O'Brien both started for Molenbeek in their 1-0 away win on Friday evening. So that's a quick roundup of our loan players, and it's good to keep an eye on those guys. So, breathe. West Ham United away. Guys, honestly, what were your expectations going into this game? Then we'll look at the team lineup in a minute. But Jim, first of all, what were your expectations going into that game yesterday?
Well, I think on the last show, we all gave our results, and mine was 1-0. I was only 4 seconds away from getting that, but very, very happy not to get it.
I hope you weren't too... Hope you weren't too disappointed that your prediction didn't come in.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I felt a point would have been a good result there and 3 points against Forest. But obviously the result was much better than I can't say we didn't expect it because we are a decent side. So, but yeah, it was what I saw, the 20 minutes highlights, we looked exceptionally good.
Good stuff. Okay, before we come to anyone else, let's have a look at the team, Nigel, if we can. Nigel's producing tonight. So there's the lineup. So Guita in goal. Klein came in at right back for Joel Ward. Gahey, Anderson and Mitchell made up the back four. Midfield, Schlupp, Decore and Eze. Good to see Checky Decore back in the side after injury. Michael Elise and Ayew played alongside Zaha. Zaha in a central role. So let me come to you, Mitchell Patel. Okay, what were your thoughts about that lineup, and how did you think about Wilf starting in the sort of in a false nine, really up top?
I guess looking at the team sheet, it's probably the team I would put out, with the exception of probably keeping Zaha out wide, and obviously Edouard, who's on a bit of a goal streak. That's the strongest Palace side I think we've got. So. Happy with that. Obviously, Edouard is out, and he's obviously chosen to go with Zaha rather than start with Mateta up front as a out-and-out striker. So, it's about as strong as we get, and it allows us to play, the attacking football we do. So I was quite optimistic when I see that.
Good. And what do you think that says to Jean-Philippe Mateta? He must have been quite disappointed he didn't get a start yesterday.
Yeah, I almost feel like he's just dropping down the ladder with it now. So I think maybe the blueprint is Edouard up front, and I think we may have decided that. And maybe his goal sort of streak has kind of helped him knowing that he's that guy. So, yeah, it's not looking great for Mateta, but I like him. I like the way he puts his body about. He's a nuisance.
Yeah, good. Okay, well, be interested to see what comes up in future games in terms of selection. But Lucy, what were your thoughts on the first half? How we started?
Well, it's been a complete difference, hasn't it? I think we've had quite a few complaints recently that in the first half, certainly we've kind of been a bit lackluster, a bit slow to the ball, always coming second and giving the ball away. But we came out the blocks yesterday in sort of fierce fashion, and frankly, it was a delight to see.
Absolutely. And Jim, would you concur with those thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about the last away game, the Everton game, where we had two lightweights who are brilliant players alongside Luca, and we get totally overrun. And it was nice. Obviously, we missed Decore, but I think the shape they had with Decore and Slappy sort of sitting in front, and probably three guys in front, and Ayew, Elise, and Eze. And by playing that system, we didn't have to close them down, high up the park, and they never get a chance to play. And, that's how we got one of the goals, through sort of nicking the ball. But, yeah, it was much better. The midfield, we can't play with Eze, Elise, and one midfield player. 4-3-3 formation. So at least that formation, you can swap it about. You can put five across the middle, you can put three up front, but at least you've got two very strong holding midfield players who can both play as well. So it's I thought it looked very good.
Yeah, good, excellent. Mitchell, let me come to you then. What about that first big chance that we had with Eze before they scored? It was Nathaniel Klein, I think, that got to the byline and pulled it back for Eze in the penalty box. Did you remember that chance? What were your thoughts about that one?
The commentator said, he felt he should have hit it first time, but I didn't think there was an opportunity really to do that. So I think his touch was half decent. It's just he kind of scuffed it. But I like the fact that we see him in those positions more and more and more. And I think he's just going to get better and better. He's been, for me, great all season long.
Sure. And we can look at the stats a little bit later on. But, in fact, Nigel, if you've got the first half stats there, it might be worth having a quick look at those now. That at the time they scored their goal, we had, get this, 75% possession.
I think Jim was right. We started, you'll almost remember it from last season, where we were pressing so high and with intent and together in packs that we actually regained possession in the opposition third, which allowed us to just bombard them quickly. And that's what we were doing all last season. That's what we've been failing to do this season. And it starts to really set the precedent of how we're going to play throughout the game. I think it was excellent.
Sure, absolutely. And do you know what? Which made I suppose, looking at those stats, which made their goal such a surprise, really. I could not believe what I'd seen when they scored their goal. Could we have done better on defending that, do you think, guys? Mitchell?
Yeah, if someone looks back at it, I'm not going to say much because I'm done with saying what I need to say. But somebody didn't really track.
Has he got number 9 on his back?
He has, I believe.
Okay.
Now he saw the danger. He moved towards the player and he didn't do anything. Then when the player got past him a little bit, still just let him just go. And that's what people say he's great at. But I never see him do it really.
But it wasn't just him, was it? There were 4 players around Ben Rama, wasn't there?
No.
You can't take it away from the West Ham lad. He did ever so well.
Doucouré was slightly behind him, but Doucouré didn't get to him because he saw that Ayew was on him. So the thing is, I've watched that 5 times now to double check I'm right. And you can't look past the fact that there was no pressure on Ben Rama even before he got the ball. Ayew saw that he was going to get the ball and moved to him, but he did nothing. Okay,
we'll draw a line under that Jordan Ayew comment, Mitchell, for now, if we may. What were your thoughts, Luce, about that? Do you think we should have done better?
Do you know what? We can say that all day, can't we? But it was a scorching goal, really, and it's just disappointing because all the pressure was ours, and we had that momentum. I think at that point, Eze had that sort of lovely dipping free kick as well, and you could just feel that it was all going our way. Especially having already kind of thought, do you know, this is how we want to start. This is what's going to get everyone the sort of momentum and hope. And then they go and smash a goal in.
It was just kick in the teeth. We were doing everything right, and then it's like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay,
but then you've got that. Sorry.
Go on, Lou. Sorry.
So I was going to say, but then we've got that confidence, haven't we? If that had happened last season, we would have been like, oh, here we go, heads go down. But we know that we can now come back from sort of dropping a goal down, and that panic doesn't always set in now, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. So 12 points now gained from losing positions, most in the Premier League, I'm told. Jim, you were a defender at the highest level. Were the centre backs at fault at all for the goal?
I think who was at fault for the goal? Wilfried Zaha.
Ah, yeah.
Mitchell done brilliant in the left back spot and brought the ball away from I don't know who the attacker was, and he hit a really nice straight ball with not great pace into Wilfried, who let the guy whip it off him quick, and the goal come from there very quickly. And I've mentioned it before, right? I think we've got a great weakness at holding the ball up front. Sometimes you don't have to do nothing, just get grip of the ball and then see what happens there. But I just felt, if like the goal we scored where the guy knocked the ball out to one of their players at 100 mile an hour, and Ezzy took off him because he couldn't control it. Yeah. But this Mitchell done really well, nice little ball into Wilf. So Wilf let himself down there because he's a better player than that. And then, yeah, you're right. You can say, you could have closed it down a little bit, but it happened quite quick. And to be fair, it was a great goal by them. Very undeserved.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was completely against the run of play and it lifted them a little bit. But as Lucy's quite rightly pointed out, our heads didn't drop. We carried on playing our same game and got our reward. Immediately after that, Doucouré had an effort. Admittedly, his final shot was more like a back pass. And then Schluppy had a go, didn't he, as well? We played a little 1-2 on the edge of the area, and his shot he got away was slightly better. So we had those chances. We got back into the game. We kept the possession. And then we got the goal, which, Jim, you've already told us about. But talk us through that goal again then as you saw it, with Eze picking the pocket of the fullback.
Well, yeah, I think the keeper rolled out to the centre half, and he's hammered this ball. The guy. He's on the touchline. I think he should have just let it go. He's trying to control it, and as he's just said, "Thank you very much," and taken it off of him. So it was a bit it was a bad goal from their point of view, but obviously we will accept anything when we need to score a goal. And it was a great finish by Wolf. I mean, the same guy that passed it, I think, was it Dawson? Same guy that had passed it out to there. Wolf just sort of brushed past him as if he weren't there. But he took the shot so quick that it didn't give the keeper a chance to even get a sniff at it.
Absolutely, yeah. He still had quite a lot to do, Mitchell, didn't he, Wilf? You know, he wasn't a given, was it, from there?
He just, Harlan Dawson basically bullied him. And then when he's in the box, he's a fox. So, you know, I mean, he hit it about 100 miles an hour. But Jim's absolutely bang on. The centre half absolutely blasted that ball. And I think even in an interview, as I said, I saw he smacked it so hard, I thought I'd just try and get on him.
Yeah.
Because I thought he'd struggle to control it. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, you got to take advantage of when other teams make mistakes. And I think that's what we did there with the equalising goal. And it's all we deserved, wasn't it? All we deserved.
Yeah. I mean,
we did that because of how close we were getting to players on that day. We were right up their backsides. We were in them quick. So as he knew, he could almost see that he's not going to control this. So he was there like a shot and he's got the ball.
Indeed. So we're going at the break at 1-1. Lucy?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say the commentator on the radio commentary that I listened to, they gave a stat that it must be Dawson. It was whoever sort of fired that ball over. Has given away 4 other goals this season from doing very similar moves. So it was good to see us sort of press him and use that sort of that knowledge to try and sort of get that goal.
Yeah, certainly, absolutely. And, you know, certainly he came good in the second half, Dawson, because he was the one that blocked Wilf's challenge when Wilf got through and was dancing his way through on the edge of the area in the second half. So we get to the break at 1-1. And as I said, it's all we deserved. And the possession, if it goes half-time stats up again, Nige, please. So, you know, we had about 63% possession to their, 37, if my maths are right. 8 shots to their 3, 4 on target, 3 corners. You know, we completely bossed that game. And if we'd gone in behind, it would have been a travesty. Into the second half, of course, and we just kept, we started where we left off the first, really. We just carried on pressing, and there were some marvellous moments. I think Elise and Mitchell combined down the left once early on in the second half. Eze had a shot just wide. And then, Mitchell, let me come to you. What about the Elise had a sort of a practice go, didn't he, for his goal?
Yeah, I mean, he does that quite a lot. And it's almost like you can see it before he's about to do it, where it's going to go. Exactly the same as Millwall, really. And it's good. He got his eye in. He missed. He knew exactly where it was needed to go in the 94th minute. So happy days. But I mean, we just started the same as we started in the first half because we dominated. So there was nothing to be scared of. Just go out there and finish the game now.
And what about Will's chance, Jim? The one he went through the middle and he danced his way through, and he just seemed to take an extra touch. He could have got his shot way earlier. Do you think? Do you reckon or not?
Well, no, I think the defender. To be fair, I think the defender done really well there. I mean, he danced through 2 or 3 players, and he probably just needed another split second. He could have got his shot away, but I mean, probably he was about to pull the trigger, and the guy just slid in. So it was a good challenge. Good challenge.
Yeah, sure. And then there was a lovely moment. I thought Joachim Andersen played a long ball over the top to Eze. Joachim Andersen, by the way, the first Crystal Palace player to be confirmed for the World Cup in the Danish squad announced this evening. So congratulations to him. We're going to be looking for all those Denmark fixtures and putting them in our calendars in the next few weeks. But he played this wonderful ball over the top to Eze, who sort of got beyond his man almost, and it was 1-on-1, and then was sort of bullied off the ball a bit. Thoughts on that one? Oh, okay, no thoughts. What do you think, Lucy? Did you see that? Was it a penalty?
Yeah.
I screamed for a penalty, but maybe obviously it wasn't, But
I think he just got bullied off a bit.
Yeah, I think so.
and he went down off the pitch, but he was clearly hurt. He did catch him, and then he got up and he just carried on. And I think the commentator, the extended highlights I watched back, which is probably the same as you listened to, Lucy, was he's carried on. We need to see a bit more of that, So fair play to Eze for that. And then of course we come to the penalty.
Oh, please.
That wasn't. Okay. Initial thoughts when it's given. Jim, what were your thoughts when it was given? Here we are. There's the sniper.
If it had been like a 5'1", 8-stone centre forward, I would say, yeah, maybe he sort of bullied him. But I mean, the guy must be about 13 stone, 6
He's
foot.
a tank.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, he looked. The thing is, it looked as if he just threw himself down. I mean, he's not a very good actor, that's for a start. Never apparently. But it's worrying moments because you never know what these referees are going to do.
Absolutely.
He got it wrong to start with. I'm glad that he listened to VAR, who we moan about every week, but sometimes they do work for you.
Certainly came through for us on this occasion. I don't know what about Anderson's positioning, because you could criticise him. He was quite high up the pitch and he was beaten for pace, wasn't he?
He tried to nick it, if you watch, but he tried to nick it on the outside as opposed to being on the inside, and he just sort of rolled him and he was away. So yeah, he thought he could nick it, I think, in front, but he's a big, strong lad, and he showed there that he don't get knocked off the ball easily. Anderson's no lightweight, which makes his dive all the more sort of sinister when you see the two different things. But could have defended better, Anderson, but the guy, he done quite well, the centre forward there.
Sure. And should he have been booked now, Antonio?
Well, it's simulation, right? If you go back and you look at it and you say it's not a pen, then it's simulation. So why didn't you get a yellow?
I don't know. But of course, we're all holding our breath in the away end and thinking, goodness, because we can't really see it at all from where we were. You need binoculars at the best of times in that ground. But, we really couldn't see whether it was a penalty or not. But there was a slight
tug on his shirt.
Yeah.
But it was very, very slight.
He brushed it almost, didn't he?
Yeah, and the dive almost felt like it was 2 seconds later where you realise you've lost the ball because you overrun it. I got a tug. I felt a couple of seconds ago, let me go down.
Yeah. Of course, we couldn't see that in the away end. So we're all sort of holding our breath thinking, oh, my goodness, we bossed this game and now we're about to go 2-1 down with 10 minutes left. And yet the longer it went on, the more hopeful we become. And then you see the referee walk towards the monitor and you just know what's going to happen. And on the big screen, VAR checking foul. And you think VAR is on our side today. And I think it was Michael Salisbury who was in the middle for the Southampton game that was on VAR. And quite rightly, it was overturned. And Paul Tierney, apparently, who was the referee, Paul Bristow, who's in the chat here. Good to see you yesterday, Paul, by the way, in the away end. Paul said to me, he said, apparently we have not lost with Paul Tierney refereeing for over 3 years. Who knew that?
Good
but,
stuff.
Some of our friends like Paul know these things. So good on Paul Tierney. And we'll have him again to referee our games. There we are. There it is. Never lost an away game in the Premier League with him being the ref. Anyway, he overturns his decision originally on the field, but Antonio did look like he'd been shot when he went down, so we love the graphic, and VAR came to our rescue. So we get to the sort of final minutes, don't we? We're into stoppage time, 4 minutes go up. Well, Mitchell, talk me through that from their attack to our goal. Let's unpack it. Let's relive the moment again. So, Mitchell,
you mean the goal?
Our goal, yeah.
Well, I think it was a pass from Wilf and then a shot and then scored.
I set you up with that one, didn't I? Goodness me. And if you don't know what we're talking about, you need to see the Michael Elise interview on how he scored his goal. But seriously, from Antonio, it balls over the top to Antonio. He's down there right wing. He outmuscles Mark Gahey. You know, he gets to the byline, he crosses it, and by then there are West Ham players in the box. But he crosses it, it's like catching practice for Vincente Guaita. And whereas, you know, you might be thinking happy with the point away from home, I'll wind the clock down. Not a bit of it. He throws the ball out to Eze, doesn't he, on the left? Eze passes to Wilf. Did you notice the way Wilf held back? So Wilf's going forward, and yeah, when he receives the pass, he goes back to create space so he can turn, pass out to Elise, and the rest is pure poetry. Absolutely pure poetry.
I would say, though, the step inside, I've watched that a few times now, is just so good. Like that little step inside where he brings the ball in to allow him to kind of get that shot off where he curls to the top corner.
Yeah.
It's just sublime. If you rewatch it and slowly, I mean, and he does that a lot with his drag overs and stuff like that. But that's why this is probably one of the best buys we've ever made in 5 years. I reckon we're selling him for like over 100 plus when he goes.
You could say ever, because £8 million looks an absolute steal, doesn't it? Absolute steal.
I mean, Eze at 12 is a steal. Let's be fair, and Decore is a steal.
Sure. Good. So we win the game 2-1, and absolute limbs in the away end. It was unbelievable. You know, it was just brilliant. Really, really
undeserved. We finally get one that it actually goes our way.
Absolutely.
Do you know, I've spent all weekend trying to block out sounds of fireworks for me elderly cat. I've got classic FM on the go. That goal goes in and I'm screaming and shouting. Oh, it's brilliant. What a moment.
Can you not reenact it for us, Lucy? You know, let's pretend the goal hits the back of the net. How does it go?
No one needs to hear that. No one needs to hear that.
Good stuff. Okay. So anything else you want to add on the game, guys? Anything I've missed? Anything we've missed on reviewing the game yesterday? Here's the final stats. So
just a great blueprint of how we should play. Attacking, be brave, impressing the opposition third, get repossessions in that third, and then within 3 seconds you're in the box with the players we got.
Sure. Yeah, really good. Moved the ball so quickly, didn't we? You know, passed it so very well.
And we've also got here, Ian, a really good stat from Paul saying that win yesterday at West Ham was our 150th win in the Premier League and also our 250th win in the top flight.
Stato Paul Bristow.
Yeah.
Paul Stato Bristow.
Brilliant, I'm resigning. This guy is too much.
I know, it's very good. Yeah, very good. Excellent stat. Another stat, actually, interestingly, Wilfried Zaha broke his duck yesterday against West Ham United because before yesterday, he played them 7 times in the Premier League and never scored nor assisted before yesterday. So, well done, Wilf. Good. Okay. Well, we've done the game. I'm tired talking about it, thinking about it. You know, it's exhausting watching it. But it was just lovely to see it go our way for once. And that away win was our first since April, apparently. And, you know, would the bookmakers have given us a chance? Not a bit of it. Let me just take you back to one of the predictions that we had. I think if I can find it on my phone. Here it is. So Paul Merson makes a bold claim. West Ham United host Crystal Palace in the Premier League on Sunday afternoon, with the Hammers looking to make it 7 wins in a row in all competitions. Paul Merson reckons it's an absolute certainty that West Ham will beat Crystal Palace in the Premier League this weekend. Paul Merson, I thought they were talking about Paul Merton when I read that. Not
He's
Paul
still
Merson.
on the sauce, isn't he?
Oh, dearie me. No, we can't say that. But anyway, so Mr. Merson, you got it horribly wrong. Never mind. Better luck next time. Okay, so let's move on. We've still got 2 games left before the World Cup break. And the first of those, of course, comes thick and fast on Wednesday evening up in the northeast at St James's Park. I'll be interested in your views, panel, on changes we might make to our selection of the first 11 for that visit to Newcastle on Wednesday. So what changes would you like to see to our starting 11 on Wednesday, or would you not? Jim, let me come to you first.
Well, he'll definitely change it purely the fact that he wants to give other people that are knocking on the door games of football. It's depends how much he wants or thinks he can get to the latter stages of the League Cup. I mean, it's not the hardest cup to get to, maybe the semi-finals, only a few games. So I think he'll put out a fairly strong side, but I'd like to see him maybe give blood one or two of the youngsters. I mean, we've got quite a few youngsters sitting on the bench, so maybe sort of throw them in. But then Newcastle are sort of playing out their skin at the moment, so the last thing he'll want to do is get hammered.
But Newcastle themselves will surely make changes as well, won't they?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah,
Hope so.
he's got lots of players that he'll change. I would think he's looking at the league, top four in the league is something he'll be looking at. I mean, although they've only got one more game in the league, so it's not as if you've got to rest players sort of for a heavy couple of months coming up to Christmas. So, yeah, he's definitely going to rest some players.
So people like Luka Milivojevic will start, do you reckon? Did all right yesterday when he came on, didn't he, Luka?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at this is it's Newcastle. I'm pretty scared of them at the moment. I think the stadium's going to be bouncing, whatever team they put out. And the way I look at it, I would like to have Mateta, Ayew, Luka, Joel Ward, Eboe. Let them all play because I feel like Newcastle are going to do us whatever we send up. So I'm quite happy. Let them all play because then it means that Forest Day we're not going to have them play that day. So then we can have Decore, Elise, Eze, Zaha, Klein. So all of those substitute second-rate players. Let them play Newcastle EPL, and then we put our strongest against Forest.
You can't say second rate. You can't say
no, not second rate. Second
first team.
Position. Not the preferred option.
Not first choice when everyone's fit. Okay,
that's so right.
You're saying that like a Luka Milivojevic will start. You're saying
so like Decore is our choice option instead of Luka. I mean like that.
Okay, so I think Luka did well when he came on yesterday. I think he played really well. I think he's played every game. He's done all right, actually.
Hughes in the comments, I forgot about him. I don't know why he never gets to play.
Oh, I love Hughes.
Hughes should start.
I love Hughes.
Yeah, I do. Scrappy little terrier, busy.
And he's a baller, though.
On ankles. Ball. Yeah.
Okay, so Will Hughes as well. I think, good to see Joel Ward get a rest yesterday, but Kleiny did well at right back. So I think Wardy will play in this one. What about goalkeeper? We think Sam Johnson will come in?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you.
He's got to change the keeper, give somebody another game. Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah, I think so. And what about Mateta? Mateta will start up top?
Yeah, I think so, after he's not really got much time. But Eboe is the one who better start because I feel so bad for that kid. He looks outstanding. And again, another appearance of the 21s. He doesn't play for them, but he was unreal in that game.
Yeah, and in the under-21s, he scored a good goal the other week, I saw. Was it Arsenal, the Arsenal game?
Yeah, but he dominated that game. You should have seen him.
Yeah, he came off the bench at Everton. All right, we're losing 2-0 or 3-0 at the time, so not the best of cameos. But I think I would agree with you. I think Malcolm Eboe would do well to get a start up at Newcastle. Okay, good. Well, we got up there with high hopes, and I think the Northeast contingent said, give us a wave if you're going up. So if you're going up to Newcastle, do put it in the chat. And Nigel will make you very welcome. Nigel will buy you a beer, he said, if he sees you in the away end. Is that right, Nigel? Yeah, I think that was what he said. Good. Okay. So let's move on, if we may. Don't forget to put your quick fire questions for Jim in the chat. We'll come to those shortly. And we'll quiz Jim about some of his career as our leading appearance holder at Selhurst Park at Crystal Palace. Okay, so let's come on to some of our competitions, Nige, if we can. We've got a few things going on at the moment. We've got a Super 6, which I think you're doing rather well at, producer Nige. Look at that. Nigel Croucher, top with 200 points. There I am in 6th place. Who else is on this show that's on there? Tom Samuel, your name is there. Chloe Johnson, your name is there. A few others that are regulars on here. So well done if you're taking part in that. And Nigel, so you're sort of odds-on favourite for the World Cup Predictor League. So we've got the World Cup Predictor League coming up. If you haven't joined in with this yet, there's still a chance to do so. There we go. You need to email redandbluereview@outlook.com if you're interested in joining. Excuse me. And Mr. Lyons will get back to you. He'll take £20 off you, which is your entrance fee. But these are the prize pots so far. Of course, the more people that join in, the higher those prize pots will be. So if you win the group stages or the knockout stages, you get your money back basically with £6. And then there's prizes for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So everyone else on this show tonight in it. So Mitchell, you got your team in?
I haven't even looked. This is the first I've heard about it.
Oh, you need to do that, Mitchell. You need to get your team in. What about you, Lucy?
Yeah, no, I'm in. I'm paid up.
You're in, are you? That's good, yeah. Jim, you in?
I'm a Scotsman. I don't care about World.
That's a great answer. But if you want to join in, you can, of course, you know. Other competitions are available, but we'll have a bit of fun during the World Cup. Otherwise, you know, when you're watching, I don't know, Ghana versus Denmark, apart from the fact we've got 2 players in it, it's not much. You've got to have some interest, haven't you? You know, that sort of thing. Okay. And then we've also got a Super 6 going on. Oh, we've done the Super 6, haven't we? Sorry, what am I talking about? This is Fantasy Premier League. This is our mini league. Now, there are 145 teams in this mini league. And well done to Andrew Harvey, who is top with 916 points, I think that says. I think that puts him 44,000th in the world out of 10.5 million. And his team, funny enough, is the same as mine, except I've got an exclamation mark. Easy come, easy go. And well done if you're in the top 10 there. I'm about 60th or 70th in that mini league. So I've got some catching up to do. And I need to pull my finger out after the World Cup break on FPL. So before we get into talking about those quick fire questions for Jim, just want to talk about the other teams' games that are coming up. All right. So we talked about their fixtures earlier over the last weekend. So next up for the women on Sunday, the 20th of November, they play in the Women's Championship, and this is at Selhurst Park. They play neighbours Charlton Athletic in that Women's Championship. So it's a 2:00 kickoff. Get yourself down there. You'll be needing a football fix by then. The under 21s, they next play on Monday, the 14th of November. It's a 7:00 kickoff in the Premier League 2 Cup. Sheffield United away at Bramall Lane under the lights. And then the under 18s, next up for them is also on Saturday, 19th of November, 11 a.m., a Premier League home game against Norwich City. Sorry, an away game against Norwich City. So they're the next games for our other teams coming up. Jim, quick fire questions. What have we got, Lucy, for Jim? Quick fire questions.
Okay, a cracker here from Teresa. Jim, what's your favourite fan chant?
The one when we score a goal.
So anyone following a goal. Fantastic. Good stuff. Okay. Question for Jim from John Knox, the Super John Knox. Who's your favourite player that you've played with and your favourite manager that you've played under, and why? So not really a quick question, that one.
Well, favourite manager would be Terry Venables. I know a lot of Palace fans don't like the man, but when he took over up till the so-called team of the 80s, he was brilliant. So, and probably every club in the country wanted him as manager. So he was exceptional.
Was there a buzz?
Yeah, great guy to work for. He was a funny guy, very great ideas, and just in my opinion, an all-round good guy. And player, I suppose I've got to pick the player I like playing with was Billy Gilbert. He was my centre-half partner. We played quite a lot after Ian Evans had that terrible leg break against Fulham. And also, I've got to say Kenny Sampson. probably one of the best left backs this country's ever produced. So, yeah, there's 2 for you.
Oh, thank you, Jim.
Can I come in, Lucy, there and ask a supplementary one about Kenny Sansom, Jim? Do you still see Kenny? And if so, how's he doing?
I saw him a few weeks ago. He was up the club. Yeah, he's all right. He obviously, we all know his problems. He had that bad head injury when he was I think down in Exeter, and ended up in hospital, which has done him no favours at all. But he's getting a bit better, but he'll never be the same as what he was a few years ago. Obviously, the drink didn't help him as well. So he's always smiling, and he's always got a twinkle in his eye. You never know sometimes how coherent he is, and if he actually knows. Sometimes he always knows me because he always says Jim. But yeah, lovely guy as well. Love it. One of the nicest guys you could ever meet.
Good. Well, we wish him well. You know, it was sad to hear his story, but it's good to hear him doing well when he's representing the club and things. So thanks for that. Lucy, back to you.
Cool. Okay, so Jim, a question from Paul Bristow. So have you ever missed a game because you were driving a rail replacement bus, which I think is a slight dig at Nick's Nick not being around tonight. So back to Teresa Baker. Jim, what do you think about bringing Aaron Wan-Bissaka back to Palace?
Well, obviously, I think he would be good or much better player under Patrick Vieira.
Yeah.
Because he seems to have improved. I mean, he certainly improved Wilfried Zaha. So yeah, why not? You know, I was a bit disappointed watching him playing at United, whether he was a bit overawed by it all. But I just felt I wanted him to do more, because I mean he was a winger. And the one thing I would say that he lacks is the ability to push forward like a lot of fullbacks do in the Premier League now. That's what they're there for now. You know, the defending is almost like the second part of the game, and fullbacks are like wingers these days. So,
is he gone?
Yeah, much better.
Mitchell, did you want to come in?
Yeah, I was just saying on Wan-Bissaka. So I'm like Jim, where offensively is where he's struggled, which is why I think United have decided to ditch him. But I almost feel because Tyrik's getting really good at being offensive and down that flank with Zaha, Wan-Bissaka was, when he played, was without question one of the best one-on-one defenders. Like, defending is what he does, getting that spider leg in last minute and just stealing it away. One-on-one, he's excellent. So it kind of almost leaves us with a position where you can have him and he becomes part of like that back three and let Tyrik go. And he's solid, which is the bit we struggle on down the right side defensively. So I kind of feel like it fits. And then you put Vieira in there to actually develop him over a bit of time to be a little bit more confident in his passing and moving forward. Then we've got a steal again. And now he's a low confidence player. He's had it ripped out of him. He just needs someone to put an arm around him and get him back to where he was. Yeah,
I think we'd all agree with that, Mitchell, for sure. But yeah, you can't question the business we did. 50 million. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's like the Zaha all over again. Let's have it.
Yeah, sort of. Okay, sorry, we've hijacked Jim's quickfire bit. Back to you again.
Okay, so a question from Tim Richards, who you met last week, Jim. When you retired, did you consider going into management?
I did. Well, when I retired, I played non-league for about 4 or 5 seasons. I ended up at Ballychamlet as player manager and then manager. It was slightly different in them days. Like nowadays, like there's so much money involved. But I'd always had not ambitions, but I love the building trade. I love working my hands, and I watch and I listen, and I'm quite good at everything. Master of none, but I'm quite good. And so I started a building company, and I was fortunate. I had a few friends that were were surveyors and architects, and I ended up doing it for 30 odd years. So I had a flirt with the non-league with Dulwich Hamlet and got them promotion. We had to share with Tooting and Mitcham for 1 year, and that was the year we got promoted. Went to the new ground, and then the chairman cut my money because he didn't realise that they had to pay £500 a week rates for the new stadium. They hadn't put it in their budget.
So in summary,
but yeah,
you touch turns to gold, Jim.
So
Palace,
anyway,
non-league management, building companies, everything you touch turns to gold. Or red and blue.
Yeah, I wish it literally did, but it hasn't. Don't worry about that.
So Jim, this is a question from Paul Holden, and this was something I was going to ask actually. Did you have any sort of unusual rituals that you had to do before a game, or there's a certain way you had to drive to Sellers Park, or?
No, I was probably. My ritual was I'd probably still be sitting on one of the benches in the dressing room at 23 reading the paper. One of the players would say to me, "You getting changed?" And I would get changed, and I would do a couple of stretches in the dressing room and go out, grab the ball and go out. So no, I didn't have any rituals whatsoever. I was very boring. Didn't have any rituals at all.
So your ritual was no rituals.
And that's why I think I never ever had any real injuries. No hamstring injuries, no tears, no pulls, because I didn't warm up. I put myself in 80 minutes.
Definitely, that's the reason. Also, where have we got? Okay, so going back to sort of Terry Venables, this is from Mark Callahan. Jim, was it true if Venables went to Arsenal, would you have been tempted to perhaps go with him?
Well, he did ask me to go to Queen's Park Rangers with him. And the reason I refused is because they were on the AstroTurf at the time. And I played there quite a few times, and it was just the worst AstroTurf going. So I said no. Arsenal might have been a bit of a different one.
Yeah.
I might have had to think a bit harder about that one. I dare say I probably would have gone. Yeah, I mean, why not?
Brilliant. So, Jim, do you like the way football has developed sort of in the past sort of 25, 30 years?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a much better when you look at everything in the game. I mean, you've only got to look at a bench now. There's about 30 people on the bench, 10 players and 20 staff, and they're all fitness and logistics and mental health, everything. So, I mean, the game's obviously a lot better. I mean, when you look at the pitches, everything's different. There's obviously a lot of money in football now. It's more run as a business. So, there's a lot of things much better than when I played.
There's also a question from Lindsay Dawn with regards to perhaps supporting one of the Palace Disabled Association charity social. So we'll sort of maybe put you in contact after this. Yeah. So we'll do that, Lindsay. Thank you. Also, who are your top three? Obviously, you can't name yourself, Jim, but you'd all be in our top three. Yeah. Who are your top three Palace players of all time?
Top three of all time? I'd probably go for Don Rodgers. You would probably have to put Ian Wright in there. And, well, I'm only looking at the players that from back a few years, but Wilfred would be probably number one there. So
yeah.
Okay. I was going to say Kenny Sampson, but I'll go with Wilfred. I don't want me to get upset if you ever speak to him.
That makes us happy, Jim. That makes us happy. Go.
Okay. What was there a ground that you would find particularly hostile, that you would think, oh, gotta go there, I hate it?
Well, the best ground that I played at for hostility was, well, there was two. There was Leeds United, Ellen Road, or Millwall. I loved playing at the old Millwall. It was out of this world because the fans were right on you. And of course, lots of times we go there and beat them. So there were all the old Dockers, and like their choice words were very choice. So yeah, and Leeds was very hostile. But when you're doing well, you don't mind. If you're having a good game there. But yeah, they're I don't think they're nice fans at Leeds United. But big game, big gate. It was always nice to go and play there.
Good stuff. Jim, another question here from Lee Clark. Do you still see Billy Gilbert?
Unfortunately, the last time I saw Billy was at Paul Hinshelwood's funeral, but I don't really see him. I see him in a blue moon, and that's it. I think he's still down in Portsmouth. So, unless he comes up to Palace, I certainly wouldn't go down to Portsmouth. He might want to come and see a Premier club. So,
good stuff. We've got time for one or two more, Lucy.
Can I just interrupt there? Because you mentioned the bus, right? You mentioned the bus. When I got picked for the Scotland squad in 1981, whatever it is, it was at Hampden Park in the European Championship. I think we were playing Denmark. But we had to meet there on the Monday. On the Saturday, we played Liverpool away. And my brother come down with about 30 of his mates on a coach. And he said to me, don't worry about booking sort of transport back home. Come back with us on the bus. So there's me heading off to meet the rest of the Scotland squad. Stopped 35 times at different pubs from Anfield to Glasgow. And I kept saying to my brother, you've got to get me home, mate. I've got things to do. So anyway, I thought you'd throw that in. Not good preparation.
Did you play for Scotland that time?
No, I was sub. And that was it. That was my last. I think Jock Stein must have found out about the bus trip.
Is that
the
right?
Jolly Boys outing.
What a story. What a story. Okay. Have we got any more, Lucy?
Yeah, maybe sort of just one sort of final sort of wrap up. And sorry if we didn't get to your question this evening. Jim, can you see anybody beating your appearance record anytime soon?
Well, the only one I would say was Wilfred. What's he played? 440 games or something?
Yeah, he's up to
no one's ever going to touch Jim's record.
Unfortunately, he's a winger, and no doubt over the not the next couple of years, but a couple of years beyond that, he'll lose a bit of pace. He'll probably have a few injuries, so I think he'd have to play 6 years consistent.
I mean,
and they don't play
if he's there next year.
Hang on, Mitchell, let him finish.
He might not be there at the end of the season. That's a big if, isn't it, at the moment?
Nobody's beating you, Jim, ever.
Jim, I think Mitchell's one of your number one fans. But look, let's just get that table up again, Nige, if we can, please. Let's have a look at that again. So Jim is top of this league of Palace appearances, 663. The one I looked at says 660. So there's some discrepancy there, Jim, but maybe you can help us out with that one in a minute. 34 goals, look. Second, Terry Long, 480. Wilf up to third. Just this last couple of weeks has gone past that good old Albert Harry from 1921 to 1934. And Julian Sproney in fifth there. And the great John Jackson in sixth place now. So, some fantastic names on that list. And it's Jim. I don't think anyone will beat that record. So I think it's safely yours, mate. Safely yours. I guess you could have argued that if Wilf hadn't gone to Man United and played every single match, he might be getting a bit closer now. But I don't think it'll happen somehow. And of course, Wilf is a free agent at the end of this season. What are our thoughts? I think the club are working hard behind the scenes to get him a new deal. I would imagine they are. But what are your thoughts about Wilf going forward? If we can move on, do you think it would be good for him to go to a European club? Can you see him go to another English Premier League club? What are your thoughts? Let me come to Mitchell first.
I've always said it. He's the GOAT. I'll never have a bad word to say about him. And I actually feel like he deserves it at the highest level. So if a big club comes in and he gets to play in Europe, I don't begrudge him that at all. But let's be clear, if there is any chance on God's earth, he will re-sign. That's all I want in life.
Yeah.
However, I feel like he deserves to play at the very highest level because he is that good.
Yeah. Okay. Jim, your thoughts on Wilf in that respect?
Well, he can certainly play at a higher level. The stumbling block I see is that his value at the moment, probably last year, you would have said from 70 million gone down to about 30 million. But the way he's playing and the way he's scoring goals, that could be back up towards 40, 50 million. He can get that in his pocket by walking out of Palace. Because if a club wants to buy him, they don't have to buy him.
That's it.
He just walk, and he'll say, well, my value is 40 million. I want 40 million.
I don't think he'll walk away from Palace necessarily. But we've got an interview, haven't we? We've got a clip, Nigel. Do you want to show that? Because we weren't.
These things like my contract's up. When my contract's up, I'm a Crystal Palace player, and the only thing I'm focused on is just doing more for the club. That's it. I take every day as it comes. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, so I can't sit here and say, "Oh yeah, this is my plan for this." And no, like I'm only fixated on what I'm going to do tomorrow in training, and then what I'm going to do on Sunday. So yeah, I'm very devoted to Palace, and that's what I'm thinking about.
There we go. Brilliant. Well said, Wilf. So devoted to Palace. He can't think about the future, just the next game. And I think what you get with Wilf is, he wears his heart on his sleeve a bit, and if he says something, he means it. He won't say that just for the cameras, for sure. So yeah. And who knows? I know my red and blue tinted specs are on tonight, and we've just won 2-1 away at West Ham United. But why couldn't Wilf play in Europe with Crystal Palace in the Europa League or the Europa Conference League? It's not beyond the realms, is it? It might be slightly, fantasy land, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, but you say, well, can I just come in? You saying that? I mean, every year we always say, get your Christmas, get 20 points. So we're 2 months away from Christmas. We've got 19 points going into the next away game. Probably going to end up with 22 points. So why can't we get in that top 8?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you should never underestimate Crystal Palace, especially like. I think Mitch already said it. Like this team that he put out the other day could beat most teams in the Premier League if they play like that.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I said walking out of the game yesterday, if we play like that at Forest, we'll win that game. No doubt about it. We've got to play like that. Little.
Just want to remind, just because we were gutted that our next home game is like December the 26th. We've got a friendly against Botafogo, and there were rumours of Mateus Nascimento, their like superstar Brazilian like striker, being like coming over to us on loan because obviously Textor owns Botafogo, so we actually might be able to get to see him play at Selhurst Park.
Who knows? Yeah. So he's not in the Brazil squad, this lad.
No, he's young, but he's like Real's Benzema replacement that they're going to go for. But I think we can steal him for a little season.
Yeah, who knows? Well, thanks for that insight. I didn't know that. So, yeah, of course, the Botafogo friendly is Saturday, the 3rd of December, and a 12:30 kickoff at Selhurst Park, I believe. Now, a few weeks ago, we had some predictions, if you remember. We had 6 games left in the Premier League, 18 points up for grabs, and we asked you, Red and Blue viewers, how many points you think we would get in those 6 games. I have here, of course, we've got 10 points from those games so far. Having won yesterday, we beat Southampton, we beat Wolves, and we drew with Leicester, giving us our 10 points, lost to Everton. We've got Forest still to come. My own prediction, guys, was 11 points. So if we draw at Forest, I hope I'm wrong. A bit like your 1-1 prediction, Jim. You know, you're happy to be wrong. So if we draw at Forest, I'm bang on the money, along with Bruce at the DSA and Nigel. Chloe, you're out of it. You said 8 points. Lindsay at DSA, you said 11 points as well. John Knox, you said 12 points. You can't be right, mate. It's either 11 or 13 or 10 is the final outcome. What else we got? Tim said 10. David said 9. Joan said 9. There's a few others here. I'm not going to read them all out. But we didn't have any prediction from Nick Philpott. There you
Typical.
go. So let's finish the show with our predictions for the next 2 games. We've got Newcastle away in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup on Wednesday. We've got Forest away in the Premier League. Stick your predictions in the chat. Go. And we'll come to our panel for their views now. So I'm going to do ladies first. So, Lucy, I'm coming to you for your predictions for these 2 games.
I think we will lose against Newcastle, which I'm not going to be too sad about. Don't really care about that cup. And I think we will beat Forest 2-0.
2-0. Okay. And the Newcastle result?
2-1.
2-1. Okay. 2-1 reverse and a 2-0 win. Jim?
Yeah, I think we'll probably lose. No, I'm going to stick my neck out. We're going to beat Newcastle 2-1 because they won't put out a team. And we're going to beat Nottingham Forest 2-0.
Oh, yeah. Loving it. Okay, excellent. Mitchell Patel, what about you?
I think we lose. Sorry, just dropped something on my foot. I think we lose 2-0 at Newcastle, and I think we win 3-1 at Forest.
Okay. I'm going for a win at Newcastle on penalties. 1-1 and a win on penalties. That'd be entertaining, wouldn't it, from the gods up there? And then I think, 2-1 win at the City Ground on Saturday. Okay, guys. Well, look, Mitchell.
Quickly, while we're talking about that, I forgot. I think we should see John Kamani-Gordon play in that cup game because he's sitting second in the top goal scorer league of the Premier League 2, and he has been on our bench but not come on. So it'd be actually quite nice to see him.
Well, okay, good. Thanks for getting that in. Excellent. Right. So that's it for another show, guys. We'll be back again next Sunday at 8 p.m. after the Forest game for our final Red and Blue review of the year of 2022. So thank you to Mitchell Patel, Jim Cannon, Lucy Asher, and from me, Ian Noble. It's good night, and thank you for joining us, everyone. Good night. Up the Palace.
Up the Palace.